That's all I got to say.
Shaq, how many game sevens did MJ go to? Zero.
Hey,
I'm saying.
How many times did MJ see the Warriors, though?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Will you stop it?
I'm just saying, though.
Shaq,
Stop it.
Shaq,
He's going to beat the Warriors?
He's
going to beat
Shaq,
KD,
when Jordan retired. When Jordan retired.
No!
Yes.
They would run laps around that Bulls team, yo. Are you kidding me?
Okay, let's go player by player.
Let's go player by player.
All right, point guards. Who you got?
Point guard, you got Steph. Who's guarding Steph? Pip?
No,
Harper?
I'm asking who. Yeah,
Okay, so
Harp,
look.
Yeah, Harp.
Okay.
Yes, Harp.
So he's going to chase him off the three.
Yeah, of course.
And then guess what? So you got Steph, you got Clay, you got KD, you got Draymond, and we plug whoever at the 5. Whoever. They're going to beat that team?
Yes.
Because not to mention they're not going to guard Rodman, and they're doubling every time. MJ.
Listen, first of all, you got to hit those threes. Okay.
They hit them.
Another question. What era are we playing in? We playing in the big boy era where you can knock people on their ass, or we playing in this little cupcake era now where you can't touch people? Give me an era.
I think they win in both eras.
Will you stop it?
Oh, hold on. Is Clay not tough? Clay couldn't play back then?
Whoever's paying him to say all this stuff, I will pay you double to stop it.
Hold on. Shaq, how did Dennis Rodman play defense?
He played like a man.
How did Scottie Pippen play defense?
Like a man.
How did Michael Jordan play defense?
Like a man.
This moment matters because it exposes the real reason debates about greatness never end. They are not about basketball, they are about meaning. What begins as a simple question, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, quickly turns into emotional territory because these names represent more than players. They represent eras, memories, and identities. When someone confidently dismisses Kobe and immediately jumps to Jordan versus LeBron, the conversation stops being analytical and becomes symbolic. It is no longer about who played better in certain moments, but about what kind of greatness people are willing to accept. This clip captures the exact moment when certainty replaces curiosity, when phrases like "that's all I got to say" shut down discussion instead of opening it. The tension rises because no one is trying to understand the other side, they are trying to protect a belief system. That belief system is rooted in how fans experience the game at a formative time in their lives. For some, Jordan represents purity, dominance without visible failure, a career that ended before decline could complicate the story. For others, LeBron represents reality, longevity, pressure, adaptation, and success that unfolded in full public view. This moment matters because it reveals that greatness is uncomfortable when it does not fit neatly into a myth. The debate escalates not because facts are unclear, but because accepting another definition of greatness feels like rewriting personal history. This clip is powerful because it is not polished or rehearsed. It is raw, emotional, and dismissive in places, which makes it honest. It shows how quickly sports conversations turn into moral arguments about toughness, sacrifice, and legitimacy. That is why this moment resonates far beyond the studio. It reflects how people argue about excellence in every field by clinging to symbols instead of wrestling with complexity. This is not just a sports debate. It is a mirror of how humans defend the stories that give their lives meaning. What is truly at stake in this debate is not ranking players, but defining what greatness is allowed to look like. Michael Jordan represents finality. His career feels complete, controlled, and perfectly framed. 6 championships, 6 finals wins, 1 franchise, and an exit before decline became part of the narrative. That cleanliness is powerful because it leaves no loose ends. LeBron James represents the opposite. His greatness unfolded in real time, across different teams, systems, expectations, and eras. His failures are visible, documented, and endlessly replayed, yet so are his comebacks, longevity, and adaptability. Kobe Bryant occupies a complicated middle ground. He chased Jordan's standard with obsessive intensity, embodying discipline, sacrifice, and willpower in a league that was already changing. When Kobe is brushed aside in this debate, it signals that the conversation is no longer about skill or influence, but about hierarchy and symbolism. Jordan is often defended as the ultimate standard because his story feels safe. It does not force people to confront nuance. LeBron's story does. It asks uncomfortable questions about context, teammates, competition, and evolution. That discomfort is why his greatness is debated more aggressively. The argument is not whether LeBron is great, almost everyone agrees he is, but whether his type of greatness should be valued as highly as Jordan's. This is why finals records, hypothetical matchups, and era comparisons become weapons. They simplify a complex reality into digestible talking points. At stake is whether greatness is measured by perfection in a fixed window or by sustained excellence under constant pressure. This clip highlights how quickly people retreat to absolutes when nuance threatens their preferred narrative. The players themselves are almost secondary. What truly matters is which version of greatness people feel most comfortable honoring. The debate reaches its most revealing point when it shifts from legacy to era warfare. The question, "Where are we playing?" carries far more weight than it appears to on the surface. It is not about court dimensions or rules, it is about legitimacy. When one era is described as big boy basketball and another as a cupcake era, the argument is no longer basketball analysis, it is cultural judgment. Every generation believes its era was tougher, more physical, more real, because toughness validates dominance. This is how myth-making works. Jordan's era becomes a symbol of masculinity, resilience, and authenticity, while modern basketball is framed as soft or protected. The reality is more complex. The game evolved because players became faster, more skilled, and more strategic, not because they became weaker. Saying Jordan would dominate in any era is not a factual claim, it is an act of faith. Faith does not require evidence, only belief. Once the conversation reaches that point, analysis collapses. Hypothetical matchups replace historical context, and confidence replaces reasoning. This clip shows how quickly debates about greatness abandon curiosity in favor of certainty. Instead of asking how players would adapt across eras, the discussion turns into declarations of inevitability. That is why phrases like "will you stop it?" appear. They signal frustration, not insight. The debate stops being about understanding basketball history and becomes about defending territory. This is era mythology at work, where complexity is reduced to absolutes so that legends remain untouchable. The clip captures this transformation in real time, making it valuable not because it settles the debate, but because it exposes how the debate operates. This argument never dies because it fulfills an emotional need. Michael Jordan represents certainty in a world that feels increasingly uncertain. His legacy is closed, polished, and complete, allowing fans to point to it as an unquestionable standard. LeBron James represents a different kind of greatness, one that evolves, adapts, and exists under relentless scrutiny. His career forces people to confront ambiguity, context, and change, which is why it remains controversial even as it becomes historic. Kobe Bryant's legacy adds another layer, rooted in obsession, sacrifice, and emotional connection rather than statistical dominance alone. The debate persists not because the answer matters, but because people are protecting how greatness felt to them at a specific moment in time. Sports debates often masquerade as logic, but they are driven by memory and identity. Admitting that multiple forms of greatness can coexist feels like surrendering certainty. This is why fans argue so fiercely, even when the players themselves no longer need defending. Jordan's legacy is secure. LeBron's influence is undeniable. Kobe's impact is eternal. Yet the argument continues because it is not about them, it is about us. It is about preserving the emotional meaning we attach to excellence. This clip shows how easily discussions about basketball transform into debates about values, toughness versus adaptability, perfection versus endurance, myth versus reality. That is why the argument survives across generations. It is not resolved by facts because it is not sustained by facts. It is sustained by feeling. What this moment ultimately teaches us is that greatness cannot be reduced to a single definition without losing its truth. Michael Jordan mastered dominance and finality, creating a legacy that feels mythic because it ended before it could be challenged by decline. LeBron James mastered survival and evolution, carrying excellence across eras, teams, and relentless public judgment in a way no player before him had to endure. Kobe Bryant mastered obsession, embodying the psychological cost of chasing perfection. Each path reveals a different truth about what it takes to be great. This clip shows how uncomfortable people become when those truths collide. Instead of allowing complexity, the debate collapses into absolutes. But greatness is not fragile. It does not need protection through dismissal of others. The real fragility lies in ego and identity. When fans argue, they are often defending the version of greatness that validated their own beliefs about effort, success, and masculinity. This moment reminds us that history is richer when it is allowed to be complicated. Greatness grows when it includes contradiction, failure, adaptation, and endurance. The mistake is not choosing Jordan, LeBron, or Kobe. The mistake is pretending that honoring one requires diminishing the others. This debate will continue, not because it needs resolution, but because it reflects how humans search for meaning through symbols. In that sense, this clip is not about basketball at all. It is about how we define excellence, how we remember the past, and how willing we are to accept that greatness can wear more than one face.